Hey guys, Rich with Rich Rebuilds here, and one of the most frequent questions I get besides, is your wife fat, is how do I make my Tesla headlights look like yours? Bold, aggressive, unique, and sexy for a very low price because much like you, Rich, I have no money. Now, the stock lights that come with the pre-refresh Tesla are bright chrome, and if you have a blacked out Tesla, or really any car for that matter, and you took the time to do the chrome blackout kit and the car's black on black, but the headlights are still chrome, it just doesn't look really good. Now, the lucky people are the ones that have the newer generation LED headlights that kind of have their own blackout kit that looks much better than the prior generation. I know you're probably asking yourself, but can I just fit the new generation LED headlights on an older generation car? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. They will fit, but they won't work. The new lights are controlled via an in-car network, and the older HID headlights just rely on power to be applied to various components for them to work. The harnesses are similar, but that's about it, and quite frankly, it's not worth it. So if you have an older S, the only option is to do a DIY light kit. There's a vendor selling some really mean-looking Tesla Model S headlights with blackout housings and a new upgraded projector and all the bells and whistles for a little under half of what I paid for the entire car. Combine this with the fact that I'm cheap, that's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to show you how to do this stuff with stuff you probably already have in your basement. Now remember, I've done this before. I did the chrome delete on my fog lights by baking them in the oven, separating them, adding carbon fiber to the amber portion, and deleting the chrome. I did this to my previous headlights as well, when I had the black and red accents theme. Many people are concerned with the light output, but not to worry, these really won't be a noticeable difference in light output. Typically when you paint the part that surrounds the low beam on a non-projector headlight, that's when you run into trouble, but Teslas use projectors headlights, so don't even worry about it. So naturally, now that my car is matte Nardo gray, I have to change the headlights accordingly. When are you gonna paint the car, Rich? Why'd you paint your car in primer, Rich? Remember, this is a general idea on how to do the inside of your headlight housing black to see how they turn out. Don't take anything I do seriously. I'm going to be using things I have laying around the house to do this from start to finish. Now, there's another way to do it, which is spray tint or film on the front of the headlights, but for that, I'm not a huge fan as it measurably decreases the light output, but to each his own. Now, the first thing you'll need is a Tesla headlight. Obviously, pick it up, embrace the modern piece of technology that it is. Now, rub your finger across it to establish dominance. Just kidding. I'm pointing out the 3 tabs that you have to make sure you have to separate when opening the headlights. There's also one in the upper right-hand corner of the light. Flipping the light over, you also see that there's 3 tabs, and looking at the front, it will give you a good idea as to what the headlights look like before you butcher them. And at the back, there's arguably the most important screw of this whole ordeal. This is what secures the bezel to the housing. And at the front of the light, you have your parking lights, the LED strip that runs around the upper half of the headlight. Now you get things started, you preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't own an oven or you realize that having it in an oven is a stupid idea, the better way to do it is to use a heat gun and work your way around the light. But today I'm going to use an oven, mostly because it heats a lot more evenly than a heat gun. But 325 is a bit on the higher side, so make sure you don't put the headlights in there as it's preheating, because during the preheat there will be a temperature spike to over the intended temperature. So once the stove is done, put them in afterwards, and also do this in an oven you don't prepare food in due to the odors and the melting adhesives. Also, I only had 2 pieces of foil when I did this, so I have 2 large gaping holes, so I'm hoping nothing melts and falls in between those cracks. Now, before you place it in the oven, be sure to unscrew that screw at the back of that housing that holds the bezel in place. This releases the interior chrome lens, so you can remove and paint it. Now gently place the headlight in the oven for 8 minutes, and when it's done, be sure to put on gloves because it's going to be hot as hell and you have to work fast. As the light cools back down, the adhesive hardens again, so make sure you work quickly. Now while we're waiting for this, let's get into this video sponsor, Ridge Wallet. I was out with a buddy of mine having dinner and he took out his wallet to pay and I said, whoa, hold on there, Slick. Why is this thing so fat? Let's get you something more slim like this Ridge Wallet. It can easily store all your cards in a sleek form. What do you think? Pretty nice, huh? All right, that's your wallet. That's yours now. You can have that. I'm going to take this wallet. I'm going to head out of here. You have a great night. And thank you, Ridge Wallet, for sponsoring this episode. If you want to save some money without running off at your friend at dinner, just go to www.ridgewallet.com/rich for 10% off your order. Okay, now it's been 8 minutes and the headlight is ready to be separated. The best way to do this is to use a kitchen knife and a flathead screwdriver, but first work your way down the headlight with gloves and peel back the bezel plastic to create an air gap between the adhesive. Now start with the knife, then use the flathead as a spacer, then work your way down the headlight, doing the flathead, then kitchen knife, flathead, then kitchen knife a few times. Then work your way down towards the front corner, then the rear, then flip the light upside down and use the same Phillips to pry the rear of the headlight as well. Now that the underside is pried up and so is the top, let's start to separate the lens from the rest of the light at the lowest corner near the center of the vehicle, and it should just pry open. Oh, there you go. Bezel's removed, and that is what the headlight looks like without the bezel. Now let's get what we need. Now here's where we may differ. I like to paint the chrome projector surround of the color of the vehicle. I believe it adds a little pop to things. Even though my car isn't primer, the primer happens to match the car perfectly, and I use whatever I can find on sale at AutoZone. This time I'm using VHT engine enamel. I only paid $2 for this on clearance, so that's fine. You'll also need some black spray paint as well. I had an extra can of the 2X Rust-Oleum paint and primer in one can. So you'll also need clamps to clamp down the headlight. Don't use the plastic ones because they suck and they don't hold anything down worth a damn. And you'll also need a caulking gun, which is what you'll need to lay down your sealant in the headlight itself. Then you have multiple types of sealant. The one I used for my first set of lights was roof and flashing polyurethane sealant that I got at Home Depot. The trick is to not put something like this thick in the channels where the old sealant was. You should use this as the last step as it's very thick. The first set of lights I made that mistake. I've since then done about 7 others, and I learned a few tricks of the trade. If you look at this first set, I had to put tape over the sealant because I did such a crappy job. It literally looks horrible, but the red was a nice touch. And if you see here, I also have Power Grab and a few other silicone sealants laying around. But enough of that. We need to disassemble the headlights, and we need some precision tools. Shout out to iFixit for sending me a set of their tools because we have quite a few of these to remove. And to completely disassemble the headlights, you have to do this step. Nope. You know what? My hands are pretty ashy. Let's get some lotion on there. Sorry about that. All right. Now the parts are separated, let's get ready for paint. But before we paint, let me blow your minds. You see this here? See this? Watch what I'm going to do. Huh? Not bad, huh? Now, since it's cold out in the Northeast, you have to shake the out of the can and also make sure it's warm. But please, for the love of God, do not put the can in the oven to heat it up because that is super dangerous. All right, so now we have the things hung. I'm going to start doing light coats of primer. Just a little bit of color. A little bit of color, okay? Just a little bit of color. All right, now I'm going to do the main bezel here. If you look at this bezel, it's translucent, and this is where the daytime running lights shine through. Now, in order to preserve the daytime running lights, you'd have to tape over this part, then apply the paint. Well, I have a confession. I hate the daytime running lights. Yes, that's a fact. So let's go ahead and add a little color over here, too, and paint over those. Now, I've done a couple coats of primer, and it's time to go ahead and add the actual paint color, which is black. Now, the secondary bezel is the one that contains the turn signal, and this is the one that you want to preserve because the turn signals are important, obviously. And I found this tape in my basement, so I'm going to use just that. You slowly tape the translucent section and then take a razor blade and cut off the excess tape. So now that that's all set, let's hit this light with another coat of black. And yes, that's looking pretty sexy already. Now I'm going to use my patented tool to hang the item I'm going to paint again. And here's a reminder, do not paint the inside of the hole, or else you'll get paint behind the bezel and block out the light for the turn signal. Now let's do another coat of black. All right, you get the point, right? Now all the pieces have dried, let's go ahead and start the assembly process. Right now I'm going to peel off the tape from the turn signal housing, and damn, that looks really good. Going to tighten that in first, and then I'm going to install the shroud below the projector housing. And now for the actual projector housing. Damn, would you look at that? That came out really nice. Anyways, put that bad boy in the oven at 250 Fahrenheit for 8 minutes just to soften the glue. And I'm going to clean the plastic lens because why not? And then I'm actually going to clean the inside too because, again, why not? Just kidding, there is a reason. It's because you want to avoid fingerprints at all costs. Once you get a fingerprint in there and it's heated up again, it's pretty much game over. Now that they're clean, I'm going to start the assembly process of reattaching the first half of the headlights. Now that that's done, the headlights have been in the oven for 8 minutes, and now it's time to add the sealant. I personally use Power Grab, but I don't want you to use Power Grab because it's white. Power Grab is strong as hell, but it is white, so once you squeeze the headlights together, some of that white sealant will come out, and the white isn't going to look so good on top of a black headlight. So Power Grab is great for sticking things together, but it makes a permanent seal, so if you can, use some kind of black silicone. Now that that's all set, press the lens against the rest of the headlight and work your way around the corners where water is most likely to enter the lens. Now don't hesitate to use a vice grip to help press the light back in. The biggest thing you want to do is make sure these tabs are over the white lens to help seal that light and hold it in place. Also make sure to add the clamp that I never told you about at the edge of the headlights to help the seal, and make sure it's a metal adjustable clamp. You can get these at Harbor Freight. I'm actually going to add a little silicone to the top of the headlight, and this is a secondary measure to make sure that the water doesn't enter the headlight. Make sure you smooth it out nicely so when you open the hood, it doesn't look like a crime scene, and you could do this all around the light for a nice watertight seal, and I'm pretty much done here. And this is the end result. The lights look really damn good on my primer colored Tesla. I mean matte gray. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section about the headlights. Please tell me where I messed up because I absolutely love feedback from you all. Was it the kitchen knife? Was it the kind of paint? The temperature of the oven? You let me know. Check me on Instagram at RichieBKid, The Electrified Garage on Facebook, or if you need Tesla parts, check out the Tesla Parts Buy Sell Trade group on Facebook. And I will see you all soon.